Good day or good morning, everyone. I am Alan Osmanagic, like Maya said, coming from Infigo in Croatia. I'm currently a Managed Security Services Director here in Infigo and also team lead for our incident response, cyber incident response team. And today I'm going to give you a sneak intro, let's say, into the bigger presentation we are going to do in InfoSec Live. Specifically dealing in how to detect and prevent hackers in your network. This preview today is going to be focused on practical examples that we are basically dealing with on a weekly basis. And even though there is a lot of focus now on the geopolitical events, on the advanced attacks, on the state actors and things like that, unfortunately, even now in 2022, the majority of attacks that we see in the ecosystem that we handle as incident responders can still be distilled to basics, to controls that are easy to implement, that are basic, and that are actually allowing even unsophisticated attackers to do a lot of damage to the environments they attack. Just a verification, please. Do you see the presentation on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
So, yeah, just a couple of sobering facts to remind ourselves. This is a fascinating piece of information that I found the other day on the internet. The estimate market size of cybersecurity today is $6 trillion. Essentially meaning that if it was a country, it would be the third largest economy in the world, just behind US and China, which to me is a completely unbelievable fact. But actually, this is how it is and how the analysts estimate the size of cybersecurity as an industry. Also, an interesting thing to note is that in the US, at least, most of the CEOs place cybersecurity as their #1 business worry, ahead of any competition or recession worries or anything like that, even today in the unstable market that we have due to the geopolitical events. So definitely cybercrime and cybersecurity are the one of the biggest challenges and biggest threats out there in the world. Also, like I said, it's 2022, but there are still some very basic challenges that we see and that we discuss with our customers, that we notice when we do incident responses. And this is the mindset that incidents will not happen, or cybersecurity breaches will not happen to us because of various reasons. In fact, a cyber incident will happen. It's only a matter of when, how, and how severe. If not, then it already happened before. So no organization is shielded, and no organization can be categorically safe from cyber incidents. Likewise, typically we see 3 types of approaches, particularly in the management of customers that we work with. So there are these 3 typical groups of people. So sleepers, gamblers, and realists, where what we find is when there is a cybersecurity incident happening, the ones that are realists will actually have the biggest capability to respond to it, because they are prepared, they understand that the incident might happen to them, and they have conducted all of the necessary pre-requirements or steps in order to mitigate the incident. The gamblers and the sleepers are typically types of approaches that still face great challenges when handling a cyber incident. So if you recognize yourselves in any of these 2 groups, I would seriously challenge that point of view, because it's going to severely hamper your organization in responding to an incident once it happens. A couple of war stories that I have prepared for today. So like I said, on the live conference, we will dive deep into actually how to detect and defend against hackers according to these types of incidents. So here, these are very practical war stories of incidents that happened in the past year and a half that we have been involved with. So these are not hypothetical scenarios, some advanced threat research or things like that. These are off the ground incidents that happened in Adriatic region that we had the opportunity to help customers resolve. So one of the most common ones still for our partners is unfortunately ransomware. As you know, this is one of, if not the most destructive attack there is out there. We see now even greater threat of ransomware attacks due to the geopolitical situation, especially on key infrastructure, companies providing key services like telco operators, card processors, banks, etc. So we have been handling a lot of ransomware incidents in the past couple of years, and most of them end up having very severe consequences, primarily due to the lack of basic InfoSec hygiene, offline backups, proper backup procedure, and things like this. One of the key features of a ransomware attack is that it happens very fast. So once a ransomware attack is launched against your organization, the time to respond is measured in minutes, maybe even less than minutes. If you end up in a stage where a ransomware attack is ongoing within your organization, the most effective way to prevent it or recover from it is to ensure that you have proper bulletproof, tested, and solid offline backups from which you can revert your systems. Unfortunately, this in the real world, this was verified as the most effective control in managing ransomware attack. The second thing that is maybe also the second most common type of a cyber incident that we are handling in the region are various third-party data breaches and supply chain attacks. So these typically have as a goal, they have targets such as intellectual property theft and leveraging third parties to reach the end objective. One of the biggest ones that happened in the region in the past year was a breach of a software vendor that provided key services to the banking industry and key software to the banking industry, where the actors successfully compromised the software vendor, compromised the source code repository, and then implanted malicious code into the legitimate software that was then distributed to a lot of the customers using the software from this vendor. And the third war story that we are going to discuss in depth on the live presentation are very common. The first part is very common for any type of an attack, which is a targeted spear phishing event exploiting a user of the information system to establish a foothold. But then what we see very often in our region in the past years are the types of targeted attacks that specifically are driven by financial gain. So we have dealt with a couple of incidents here, and there is actually one Balkan specific group, attack group that targets financial institutions and businesses that have strong online presence in terms of exploiting their infrastructure and issuing unauthorized transactions to their accounts. This group has successfully attacked a couple of organizations in e-business in Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Slovenia as well. For these types of attacks, what is critical is that the actors here typically take their time. So initially they're very stealthy. What we see with these customers is that the average time that the actor spends in the compromised environment is 9 months or even longer. So initially the actors are starting with a spear phishing, establishing a foothold somewhere within the organization, and then they take their time slowly expanding through the organization until they identify specific targets, typically accounting departments and workstations and employees that have capability to conduct transactions in the back office and